All right, what is up, guys? Evan Aldo here. Wild market past that Sunday pump and then rejected pretty harshly from the 200 weekly moving average. I'm going to talk about why that is a generally pretty macro bearish sign and why that could be the start of a very bearish October. We didn't see the bearish September, we might see the bearish October, so I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But first, I wanted to tell you guys. I just released a new course for 100% free, no BS. Seriously, this is 100% free. Crypto roadmap, proven DCA strategies. This is a DCA course, not really a trading course too much, but it tells you, when to get in, kind of when to get out. The main thing I used to do very well in the last bull run, as long as the 4-year cycle kind of, holds, I think the strategies here will work really well. People would ask, why are you releasing it for free? I kind of want to give back to you guys. I want to give you guys at least something, kind of for free. And this is like a lot of the common stuff that I answer here that a lot of people ask me in the beginning. When's a good time to get into alts? All this type of stuff. So this course kind of explains it. And check it out for free. And I think it'll always be free. So just check it out, guys. Wanted to help you guys out with that. So yeah, let's get out. Let's get into this right now. So the weekly right here, kind of rejecting from this pretty big area. And the first thing that we look at here, this green dot was confirmed. Split RSIs are coming up. The split part of them is pretty bearish in my opinion. The coming up part isn't that bad though. But when you look here, this is what most likely, if we follow the 4-year cycle, if you're a believer in it, most likely we probably would see something like this. Like look, green Heikin-Ashi, or excuse me, green regular candle, and then red after that, and that brought you down quite a bit more. Very bearish November. Now this was in October when you had the jump up, and it was pretty bearish for November. Maybe we kind of had the jump up at the end of September, early October. Maybe it's a little bit early where we see October being a red month and November being a red month. If it does play out like that, that would give us probably a red month, October and November. So keep that in mind. The Dixie is looking really bullish as well. Keep that in mind. Obviously, economy slowing, S&P 500 coming down too. So, if we look at the monthly here, yes, you do have a green dot right after this trigger wave confirmed. But if you look at this VWAP, I would be more, I wouldn't be too convinced by this green dot until it kind of confirms. If we could see a really, green October, maybe I'd be more convinced. If we could break above, 29, get back up to 30K, I'd be more convinced. But as of right now, that fierce rejection off of our 200 weekly moving average, which is going to be right at around, 27.9, almost 28K, that keeps me, more bearish on this market. And when we look at, Bitcoin dominance rising throughout this, we look at, if you look at maybe the 8-hour here, generally coming up throughout this this jump up, or this jump down. Now it's kind of coming down a little bit here, but generally coming up, and I think it's kind of just consolidating before we, see a bigger jump up. And your technical target is at around 59%. I think you could get at least up to, a couple more percentage points than what we saw, 54, 55. And when you look at ETH Bitcoin here, this is generally just keeps getting lower on regular candles. I believe we made a yearly low. Yeah, it looks like we did make a yearly low for Bitcoin versus Ethereum. And I think you could kind of, if you look at, some of these time frames here, like such as the 2-week, I think you could, potentially get a bit deeper with the red here. I don't know if you're going to go as deep as you did last time, but, into the next, month or two, into maybe December of this year, potentially coming down a bit more. Technical target would be down all the way down here if we do break down. If it's like this, it could kind of break down quickly, theoretically. I'm just curious where that would lead you to. Maybe you break down quickly, but you don't go down as much. You just go down into December. So potentially that could be the big place where we bottom out against Bitcoin for Ethereum right here. And if you look at, let's just look at, a couple lower time frames for Bitcoin to see what could potentially happen more in the short term here. Okay, pretty fierce rejection off of that spiral line pocket too. VWAP coming down, RSI is kind of coming together, but coming down the daily. Money flow is good. Time frame doesn't tell us too much. Basic price action would be more bearish here. I believe this is a bear div printing on, if I'm not mistaken here. Yeah, I think that is a bear div just about kind of printing on your 16-hour. And if we look at, the 12-hour, we look at Money flow kind of coming down in the 6. And then VWAP coming up. So this is where it gets interesting more for the short term. We're hitting kind of this area right here. If I draw a local fib level 2, kind of hitting that point to potentially, if that VWAP could come up, potentially we could see a jump up. But yeah, I mean, the hourly right there, this one, this kind of anchor or trigger or whatever, brought you up generally. That trigger was really good. Could this one bring it back up? Potentially. I mean, price doesn't go straight down in one direction. But when I look at some of these lower time frames, I generally, I look at this formation here, kind of that rounding top type of thing. I would go probably from here to here for a technical target and then do it from there. Essentially I could see us fully retracing here. Ethereum already fully retraced, which shows a lot of weakness for Ethereum. So potentially, that kind of money flow crossover, and I was talking about this in Aldo Empire VIP Discord, this potential money flow crossover could be a very good place to potentially enter a Bitcoin short here. And so far it's played out pretty well, all the way, slightly above the last place we were at, kind of bounced off of these wicks right here. If you guys are interested in the Aldo Empire VIP Discord, a link down below. We are doing a 7-day free trial for that right now. First link down below in the description. Check it out. Me, CBZ, Atlanticore, and CBZ, Atlanticore, and KMAC. A lot of good analysis. We have a lot of good moderators. A lot of good stuff. A lot of really great content there. So check it out if you guys are interested. Money flow getting deeper right there in the 10 minutes. So short term, I mean, I could be wrong, but I do think short term it does seem like we would generally kind of come down farther for Bitcoin in terms of a trade setup. I do think, if you got some patience, potentially taking profits at 26.5 could be a big area. If this is like, when we did confirm that green dot back here in, not April, November of 2019, this month will generally be pretty bearish, so you can swing short. But again, for shorts, because ETH keeps splitting against Bitcoin, you might have a better place to do it with Ethereum. I mean, I do have an Ethereum short in right now that's doing pretty well. Didn't hit first take profit, but I think we'll get there. And yeah, ultimately, right here, if we look at VWAP coming down on the daily, gap to RSI is coming down, that's generally more bearish. I just wanted to look at, your 2 days VWAP coming down, you could potentially get a trigger wave. So, and we're getting bearish, kind of bearish with money flow coming out here, bearish divs confirmed, and those are playing out pretty nicely so far. Now, more short-term, 4-hour VWAP coming up, that could have a nice jump up if you do, make a little bit of a higher high. Wick out a lot of people here trying to go short. Same thing with that 2-hour trigger wave forming. Hourly kind of coming down, that money flow crossover might be a really good place to enter a short potentially. And if we do look at, some of the lower time frames, I would say this formation right here is not a particularly bearish formation. I would say you could potentially break upward to around 1687, around there. But if you do confirm this trigger wave, your odds are that you could just roll over from here. When you zoom in some more, I mean, you do have kind of a, what is this right here? Almost like somewhat of a bear div to potentially kind of bring you down right there. So that's Ethereum right now. And I mean, ultimately, where could we end up this month? I mean, if this kind of plays out, gap to RSIs, red dot, I mean, this one came up higher, and then you've had your wick up in July, and then you came down. I mean, what if we were to, let's just say, we were to do something like this? I'm just curious about. I mean, that's down to 1,300, which I think if you see 1,300 into potentially the end of this month, early November, that could be a good place to start accumulating Ethereum, of what I'm kind of looking for right here. And you may see, you may see Ethereum at least kind of maybe at these lows, 0.05 against Bitcoin, another maybe 10% drop or so against Bitcoin, maybe even 20, who knows, against Bitcoin. If that happens, that could be a good place to start accumulating ETH. So let's move on now. I just want to show you the Dixie pretty quickly here. This keeps coming up. I don't see any major signs of this slowing. Seems like, I mean, it is high money flow, but seems like a continuation would stay here on the daily. When I look at the 3 day as well, money flow looks like it might want to come up higher there. And when I look at some of these other time frames, trigger wave right there. I mean, I'm not seeing any like major signs that we're going to stop anytime soon. I think this generally is going to come up, and traditional markets generally will come down, and Bitcoin will generally come down as well. Litecoin has been an interesting one. CBZ in the Discord has had a lot of good trades. He's doing really well with Litecoin. Sometimes there's certain coins that do are good for trading. This is interesting. Reverse head and shoulders. Sometimes white Litecoin does weird things. Maybe you could jump up to 75 bucks. I don't know if I would take that trade, but keep your eye on it. Maybe it could do, be a little island and jump up a little bit right now. Wanted to look at, traditional markets just a tiny bit because those have generally been down. Golden pocket right here for the S&P 500. I mean, out of this formation, if we were to break down from here, which it looks like we probably will, where is our technical target? Right around 413. So that's ultimately what we could look at. And yeah, yellow X right there. I mean, nothing looks too good here particularly. I mean, I'm not saying you can't jump up a bit in the short term. We'll keep an eye on this kind of trigger wave for me on the weekly, but I don't think it's going to really give you too much of what you need here. I mean, you could have a jump up like that or something, then potentially roll over. When I look at this monthly right here, lower high, kind of a trigger wave right there. I would say on the monthly money flow coming out. I mean, I don't think that looks good by any means. 2-week money flow coming out, kind of the same thing. So I generally think this could come down farther into potentially the end of the year and continue down farther, potentially sometime early next year before kind of a election year recovery starts. So that's ultimately what I'm looking at right there. And that's pretty much all I got. If you guys want to check out the Discord, link down below. Also, if you guys want to trade, if you know how to trade, check out the links down below. Those are all the main exchanges down below that I use that don't require KYC. And I worked out a lot of good promos for you guys with those links down below as well. FAIRDESK and MEXC, you could get at least $100 trading bonus. Really good odds of that. So check it all out. And that's pretty much it, guys. Like I mentioned before, check out the free course, completely free. Smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Have a good one. Bye.